So what you're about to witness has definitely never before been publicly released, largely because I do not like people to watch me to do this type of stuff. If you knew me better, sometimes people think because I'm a video, because I work with groups, because I'm on stages, or all that kind of stuff that I'm comfortable with. I'm actually not. That's all Jesus. And so I am fairly private, but I do like to help people, and I like to empower people to be at their best selves. And I know that this is a routine that I'm going to attempt to walk you through. That I try to do some form of it, either short or longer, daily, and for multiple reasons. So I'm just going to do my best. I felt led by the Holy Spirit, like, hey, let me push the envelope of my comfortableness, setting the example, kind of just recording this for my own prosperity, not prosperity, but posterity, whatever that word is. But also for the Holy Health Challenge and for whoever I may decide to release. I may just keep it private for the group. I'm not sure yet, but point is, it's really helpful stuff. It incorporates a lot of different things. The best way for me to do it is just to get into it. Ironically, I really need it today, so I'm really jammed up. I'm hurting. I'm sore. A lot of times I do this kind of mid-morning shift before I get into my day and I get into the things with clients and different things publicly where I need to reset and I need to recharge, and I'll talk through some of the reasons for that and what I'm doing as I go. So let's just get started with it. A little bit of housekeeping would be, I've played with this. I don't have any earbuds in, so I'm just recording to the phone. So the sound may be up and down, in and out. You may hear some stuff. And because I need it today, you may hear some grunting and groaning as I go through it. So just keeping it real and authentic. I encourage you that I'll just do my best to mentally walk through the thing. So first of all, the background. Music-wise, a lot of times that is intentional as well. So a lot of times I'm doing this, I've got through my morning, maybe I've did my devotions, I've did some stuff, and I've mentally have wound up tight, which I tend to do. So part of the reason I do this is because I have ADHD. And so it's a mindfulness act. It's also a spiritual time where I normally, if I'm not talking, I'm listening to the Lord, I'm getting centered, I'm paying attention to my breathing, really working myself towards nasal breathing in through the nose, filling the belly. The background music, a lot of times I do go with non-vocal stuff. So today I'm just doing it for an example. There's a little YouTube of some cello, whatever. That's intentional. So using sound therapy is powerful. What we put into our minds, music, God created music. I may be listening to different things, but a lot of times it is non-vocal for the intention of it helps me focus better, and it helps me hear the Lord as I need to and walk through. A lot of times I'll get prayerful as I go through this. Today, may or may not. So the first thing that I'll usually start with is, this is going to look like a funny one. And some of these things, they're not going to be easy for you to pick up. I'll do my best to just slowly explain them. It looks like almost nothing. As you see, I'm going knee and opposite leg up as I look to the side of my arm. So what this is doing for me that I picked up is, one, it's engaging my core, which is good for my spine condition, but it's also good for my ADHD and trauma and all the mental stuff, because really why I do this, I found it feels good as a little slight warm-up, is it's a mental exercise, really. It's a brain exercise. I picked this up for Brendan Bouchard, who has had a TBI and some brain injury. So it's engaging a part of the brain. It's a good wake-up routine. So while it looks like nothing, and I don't always do these, I may do some of these longer or shorter, depending on how long it takes me to talk about them. I'm going to try to keep it concise-ish because it's hard to upload longer videos. So hopefully I don't have to send this to YouTube and then back to you, but that may be the case, because I want to do it thoroughly, properly. Ironically, I do really need it today because I am sore and stiff from a workout a couple of days ago. Part of what I deal with, and I'm just going to kind of we're looking to loosen ourselves up as well. So part of what I deal with the spine condition that creates a lot of arthritis and damage, and also muscle tension. And so between my brain and my back, I say, is my biggest struggle. So this is good. So I actually need it. I actually probably need to be focused on it, because a big piece of this, I'm doing it to record, for example, is really getting centered. Like, the biggest benefit is not physically, it's a routine of getting my brain relaxed, getting centered, getting calm, breathing as I go. So I'll start with these things. Normally from there, I do something that's even weirder looking. And I don't do any of this great or perfected. I've picked it up from different thoughts and different camps and different people that I've seen largely on video over the years, whatever. So this one is sort of, it's hard to explain on the video, but as if your head's getting pulled up by a string, kind of chin down, aligning, shoulders kind of back, and so both your shoulder blades draw back, but your shoulders out. So kind of getting this sort of stretch, but relaxed. And it's this weird little thing. This is the one that's kind of like, this is one of the funky ones for me. I don't know. But I do it, I'm attempting to play with it. What it is a fascia release. And so I'm also drawing sort of my abs up, my pelvis tilt up. So one thing I do with spinally is an anterior pivot pelvic tilt, which is trying to reverse that, right? Long-term muscle misalignment, all that stuff. So a lot of people have that, they don't know it. Like when you see skinny, fit people, but they have a belly, actually, a lot of times what it is they have a pelvic tilt that they need to correct, and that's why their belly looks like it sticks out, even though they're not as chubby as me. So this one is, it's just, so first this, then I'll kind of do this. These are more just getting centered, getting into it. Kind of remembering on that one to keep your head pulled up, chin down, and just sort of just getting into a little bit of that pelvic tilt while I do it. The guy I saw do it says that he does the Elvis Presley move while he's doing it, but it just gets kind of a feel. Those are just kind of starter things, not over focusing on them. I'd say don't over pressure this. These things take up, so apparently I'm going to get a commercial on my video. Sorry, I was hoping that one would not have. So we got Tony Robbins visiting on our video there. Okay, so from there, where am I? Okay. And I don't always do this in any extreme order. This one, it's a little blend of like Tai Chi-ish, relaxing, tapping, which is a neurological approach to get our vagus nervous system relaxed. So I'll kind of do like a rub. It's just some things I've tried them and I've cut out stuff that I didn't adapt to. It's become my routine. So I'll do this. And again, we're kind of always standing relaxed but alert, looking at our posture. And what I'm beginning to do as I go through this is, like you can hear now, what I'm doing largely is mouth breathing. Shallow, anxious. I'm looking at my time because honestly I'm crunching myself a little bit. I want to begin to start paying attention to in through my nose, and I like to go in through my nose, out through my nose. Just total nasal breathing triggers the vagus system, triggers relaxation. So that's partly what I'm starting to do as I go through this. So I'll do just, all this stuff is quicker than I'm doing it as I explain, but just, I did the quick rub, and then I'll begin to just kind of gently massage, rub my face. What I'm doing here is I do this, and I'll do this, like I said, I might do this 5-10 minutes to get going, or I might take a half hour to do this. We'll see how long it takes me today. What I'm doing here is I'm rubbing, as you see. I've got my fingers on either side of my ear and my thumb along my jawline to more quickly, actually what I'm doing there is, and then I'll shift to my neck along kind of the front, like the edge here. What I'm doing there is actually my I'm trying to think of the name of it. I'm stimulating, let me think of it. It's escaping me. My lymphatic system. So I'm doing this. So as I go through this, I'm incorporating many things: the breathing, the thinking. I'm trying to focus. I'm choosing the music I need for my spirit at the moment. And so I'm triggering my lymphatic system, which is along both sides of the ear, under the jawline, neckline, and I'll go to both sides, and along the top end, kind of bottom of the collarbone. You can even do pushing, tapping there. So I usually go through this pretty quick, right? So then kind of like outwardly stimulating the abs, inside the groin areas. I go down back of the knees, and then when I'm down here, I've adapted. What I'll do is I'll just do a quick tap, whatever, any kind of form. Sometimes you use the side of your hand. I try to get through this quick-ish because usually I'm brushing, but also trying to get mindful and centered. So just doing a tap, maybe upside the back. You'll have to play with this. I'm happy if you message me to explain a little more of it as I'm going through it quicker. So as I get up here, it's a little easier. I do like the side of my hand. I'm trying to hit like every part of my body. I'm tapping. When I get here, I hit another lymphatic system point, which is right kind of in the pit of the armpit here. So I'll hit that, just kind of tapping. And then I'll come back to this one more time, and then I'll kind of do a tap my face a little bit on the top of my head. Not like beating yourself up, but you know, just a good solid tap. And then I'll shift. And what I'm doing here is I'm thinking about my posture, my breathing, and I'm tapping on the upper kind of hump of our neck where we store a lot of tension. So I'll do that east side. And it's also, I'm beginning to, as I'm doing it, you may too, you may find some of this harder than others if you just started. For me, it was. You may find, man, you're really jammed in your shoulders, you're really jammed in your hips, you're really jammed somewhere, which I get on a daily basis. That's partly why I do it. So I'm slowly trying to reposture, realign, thinking about all these things at once. But, you know, we don't want to be, at first it's a little more wonky, and you'll get there. So I do some of that. Where am I at now? So it's like I said, it's a fluid routine for me, so I'm not always thinking about it. This one is not necessarily where I go to next, but it's a simple little, it looks like nothing again. So it's just little leg kicks. You can go to the front, right? It's this stuff, it looks silly. You can kick to the front, kick to the back. It's, again, stimulating lymphatic system, circulation, tension release, vagus system, fascia release, all that stuff. Just simple stuff. Matter of fact, you can do this one, shaking the tree, where you're kind of doing a bounce and you shake like this. That's when I started playing. And the reason I play with a lot of these is sometimes if I don't have a lot of time but I need it, I'll pick the couple that I adapt to, that I feel the most out of, and I'll do the shortest routine. If it's, hey, I got 3 minutes, pick a few of these. There's a few that I do. If I remember, I'll point out what those are. But that's for me because it depends on what condition and what you're trying to get out of it. So a little bit of shaking. The next phase I go to is this. So what I'm doing is here, light fist. I'm aiming to hit kind of right here at above my navel, below my navel, pelvic area, and lower back. I like this one. I'm surprised. It feels like almost nothing. Partly what are we doing? Well, we're loosely swinging the system, getting that worked out. I'm tapping and I'm stimulating two areas that I really deal with, lower back stuff. And then what I'll do is I'm shifting where one hand, I'm still hitting the same area in the front always, and then I'm hitting the back, same area, lumbar back here, and then from there I'll start going up here. And so I'm going lower back, up here, like this. What's that doing? Well, it's still doing the same thing, except now we're talking about it's a little more coordination. It's engaging the brain to work in a way that it doesn't normally. So working on stimulating blood flow and brain health. And then I'll go back, kind of the best I can. For me, this isn't a real flexible position, but to the shoulder. So back, shoulder, back, shoulder. So that's all usually pretty quick, right? It's not like you got to hit a certain point. Just doing it, just take action, right? Just begin to do it. Begin to play with it. The biggest part, I think, is just doing it, getting mindful, getting centered, getting moving. So, all right. So in order I do those, and I do like a few leg kicks. What I'll do in the leg kicks a lot of times is this one's a little wonkier too, but it's sort of so I'm bringing my foot up and the best inside of my leg. So what I'm aiming for is I'm really rotating and working out my hip joints, which when I first attempted these, it was really painful and bad. But I'll tell you to encourage you, because I get built up in there of arthritis and tension, that while it's still, my balance and stuff is not awesome, but now at this point, like it's not really that painful. I get some popping, some grinding, but not terrible. So that's a good sign. It's helping. It's working. I would also say as I go through this, I'm gonna encourage you, learning to tune in. What I've learned over the years with chronic pain is our system and our culture is we're being taught escape pain, lean away from pain. I want to encourage you for the most part. I'm learning more and more and more. Lean into the pain. You think that you're damaged more than you are because it hurts. And I'm not going to say check with a doctor, check with whatever. If you got a major thing, maybe avoid. But the more we lean into that pain and move that pain, we're directing blood flow there. We're telling our brain, hey, just because I feel it, I don't have to avoid it. All kinds of stuff is just really, I've adapted myself of enjoying times like leaning into the pain, like, oh, it hurts so good because I know it's helping. And I know if I'll begin to do it, it'll start working. So from there, I kind of go to, one of the things I'm going to point out here is, like, it's a blend of things here for me. So I'm going to raise up and I'm attempting, and just like I got done saying, know that I get it. We're in pain sometimes. I've got a really bad joint in the ball of my left foot for years now. That several years ago, PT told me, hey, stand on your toes. I'm like, you gotta be kidding me. There's no way I can do that. I've got damage in the nerve, da da da. Your body will adapt, your mind will adapt. Force it to get there in a slow, gentle way. But being able to stand, practicing standing on our toes is actually one of those things that feels like nothing, not on our toes, but on the ball of our feet. It feels like nothing, but it's actually one of the measuring points of longevity as we age. And so it's a predictor of our balance because our feet go, our legs go, our foundation goes. So I began slowly incorporating. I do a little bit of toe raises and I try to hold, but the next part I do is simply, if I weren't talking, I'm more and more getting centered. My breathing is going to nasal, belly breaths, and I just do kind of, I'm stretching out best I can, up. And usually I'm doing that with, and I'm going to stop talking and I'll do it, kind of a 4 in breath in my nose, maybe hold 4, back out 4, hold 4. So let me do 1 or 2 of those. And you don't have to stay on your toes. I try at first to slide a toe raise in there and holding that because it does a lot more. It gauges your core, all that stuff. But you don't have to. So like I said, a lot of times I'm just playing with doing what I need to do. This is the move, but if I go up there and I feel like I felt the tightness in my shoulder, maybe I'll begin to loosen that some. I'll begin to flex some. I just keep trying to get my body moved out. So we aim for about 10 of those, whatever, 5, 10. See, I've adapted myself. I go up on my toes just to do that, but you don't have to. Just simply come up, stretching out wide, breathing in, pause for a little bit, come down, pause for a little bit. Really, the key thing there is try to get, if you can, aim for 10 good nasal breaths, in and out, rhythmic. That's about the time I start getting centered, usually, if I'm not recording it and talking. Then I'm getting to a center point, I start moving to other stuff. The other thing I do, what I've liked to do is, a couple of those I go up and I do this, almost like a pull down. And when I do it, I'm gonna sneeze. Raw and unedited for life here. The reason I do this with some of those, and I do it very pointed, and so when I come down like that in the early day, I'm telling you, it's grinding, crunching, hurting in a good way, like I'm emphasizing. So I'll do that intentionally to kind of loosen the areas of our body we're not moving enough and getting some of that unlocked. And the more we do it, the more it helps. So a few of those, when I go up, I'll intentionally come down, almost like I'm trying to pull up pretty hard and back, but I'm really focusing on here is bringing that down and purposely crunching those joints as I come down because it helps. Helps with because I have spinal stuff all up and down, top to bottom. So point is getting a lot of muscle stuff out, the tension stuff, moving that arthritis that's in there, maybe building up here and there. That relates back to our diet and nutrition. Today we'll talk about movement though. So once I'm through that, where do I want to go? It's the first time I've ever thought through this. So I get to that routine. Hopefully this is adding together. So I'll get to that point. What I'll normally do, if I've got the long form, today's long form. So what I'm going to do here is, it's a little hard. Again, some of this is going to be hard for you to pick up with my quick explanation, but I'm going to kind of stand almost pigeon toes. The toes don't have to be together. Toes in, but the key part is big toe down on the floor. And I'm going to take my hands like this, and I'm going to bring them up. This one's going to be hard for you at first. It was for me really big time. Is bring it up, and day by day, it's usually a little tough to get it. So I'm going to take that on the sides of my temples here, kind of hit. Elbows up and posture up. So head up, right? Toe down, pelvic forward. And I'm doing this to the best of my ability. With keeping my hands there, keeping the posture going, keeping my big toes pointed down against the ground. What I'm doing here is, it looks like it is doing a lot of things. It is working the upper back, but the reason I adapted this is actually what I'm doing is, it's a little trick I saw, ironically, on a Tony Robbins thing from a guy they had, is realigning my hips. It doesn't make sense, but it's from an expert posture guy about all the sitting we do. So I'll do some of that, and then I do this, hands down, forward. I start rotating, working my shoulders out. Don't go so fast that you injure yourself or you're real sloppy. But remember too, if it hurts a little bit, it's just pain. It's okay, right? There's a difference in, hey, I can't tolerate that pain. Maybe there's injury. And then I move, hands up, I rotate back. And I am gentle with this, so once I can get fluidly moving, but there's times, there's days, like right now I feel it, my bicep muscle, I've been having an issue with. Sometimes I might feel a little more pop and grind in the shoulders. I'll just kind of take it to where it's at a pace where I can handle it. Then what I might do too, another thing you can do is, I didn't do it the other part, is kind of like slide down, keeping your spine kind of erect, head out, not necessarily up, but out, is move down your knees about halfway once, then drop your butt down and kind of extend back up. And then as I'm going through this, I may do this a couple times, but you want to get warmed up, is you may want to drop down, if you can, as far as you can without getting out of posture and overextended, but try to, almost like a toe graze, keep your lower as secure and tight as you can, but coming back up almost like each vertebrae is getting kind of pulled up itself. So just sort of the core, just kind of like, slink in that vertebrae, just getting that thing moving a little bit, getting that spine moving a little bit. You can build that into a few of them. So what I'll do next is similar. If I have less time, I won't. Today I'll just show you. I'll also do another one of those, toe in. I'll take it to the back of my head like this, and you can kind of keep them like that or interlace your fingers. I'm a little more gentle here because I feel like sometimes it feels a little rough on my rotator cuffs, but get the right position. Same thing, toes down in, kind of almost locking the thighs a little bit, because what we're really doing while we're doing this is, for me, I'm trying to realign my hips and my lower spine, which get out of place for me. So I'm doing this, and same thing, I'm a little more gentle with this form of it, because it seems like I feel it in my shoulder a little more. But see how I have my belly out up, and I kind of readjusted myself. Pelvic kind of forward, getting my head up. And so I'll do this for a few, maybe do some more of these, and that's just kind of loosening the shoulders up. I think you would be surprised, you people that have shoulder issues. I'm telling you, I've become a believer. Truth is, you may not need that surgery. You may not need that drug. What we may need to do is get it moving again, get it unlocked. We're all getting a little bit older over time. It's inevitable. So take it for what it's worth. I have some pretty major conditions that I'm thankful to the Lord, because I went through the medical system. I went through shoots for a decade now. From that bent, I do need surgery, but I think the Lord blocked it to force me to say, how are we going to figure this out? on our own. Let me tell you something. Every day, I'm speaking to my spine, healing. I'm speaking to my brain, healing. I'm speaking to my body. I've got vascular disease. I'm speaking to my heart. I'm speaking to my body. Don't forget that part of it, that these are routines we can go through and do our best to take care of this temple. But those of us in faith, we're speaking to it. We're speaking to that mountain. That as I go about doing this, my body's healing in Jesus' name. So, all right, I have no idea how long this is getting, but we got to, so I'll get through those parts. One thing you could do, this is a funny one, it's goofy, is if you want, and you want to add a little bit of boost in there, is kind of getting like a runner position, and just simply do this. They say this is really strengthening to the core. I don't always do this unless I'm trying to get geared up and going, because I like to hike and work out and stuff, so I get that stuff there. But you can add that little tip. All right, here's the other part. I'm going to be breathing a lot more because, so I keep a set of dumbbells to the side for various reasons. So I've gotten kind of loosened up. I should be breathing better and focused, even though I'm not. And so here, I've got a heavy enough weight that I'm letting my shoulder, again, I'm trying to get my shoulders unlocked, get my shoulder blades, my scapula, my collarbones unlocked a little bit. So I'm letting the weight just pull me down. I'm keeping in mind the same posture stuff. My head kind of getting pulled up by a string a little bit, not aggressive, a little bit. Chin down, kind of pelvis up. And I'll begin to let that just pull down. And then I'll start with just, you got to really keep though, like pretend you're sitting on a table holding the edges. Don't let your body do this or anything. So I'll just sort of head to the side in good position. I start letting that stretch pull down. Usually I can feel it from my neck to my tip of my shoulder, the round of my shoulder. So letting that pull. And you might really want to hold that for like 30 seconds a few times. I'm going to do it less today. My other side, and I kind of play with how much I feel it on side to side. Because again, I can get bulges and displacement in my neck time to time. So it just kind of depends. I roll with it. My phone music just quit, so we'll see. As long as nothing keeps playing, we'll keep rolling. So what I'll do on one of these, okay, is I'll come down at a certain point, if I do a couple or one, and then I come down and I look, almost like I'm looking to my armpit, slowly there, and I move that stretch that's going down from my neck more to my scapula and stuff. I do that, and I do these very slow and intentional, right? The neck is delicate. So over to this side again, now I can really feel it deeper down where I'm feeling it now finally releases more here, where the probably, I don't know about you, but I do, especially I'm a lefty. I hold a lot of tension like this through my day, through my time. So I'm getting that base a little deeper now. I'm looking down to my armpit and I'm doing that. Now maybe, I'm not gonna say to do all these things. I just want to walk you through what I would do, which would say, from there for me, I might kind of loosen the shoulders a bit. I might round it. I'm just playing with, because one of the harder places to unlock, it takes getting the rest a little more relaxed, is the thoracic, between your shoulder blades, the big meaty part of your body. Hard to get that area locked. And again, I have issues there too, like a lot of us do. Too much sitting, too much whatever, even if you don't have a condition or injury. So I might play with, and I'm being careful of posture. I might lean forward, keeping right posture. I might put the weights down, right? Maybe I drop down a second, whatever. Usually if I'm picking up, I'm kind of doing the whole leg thing, but it doesn't, part of what I'm learning about is sometimes we've been taught good intention, but not always right with modern science. So I might actually do a real slow, like almost a reverse deadlift, kind of let that weight drop. I'm pulling my hamstring some. There's other things we can build in here. I'm getting in pretty good rhythm, so I begin to kind of play with, I'm trying to build my shoulders, so I might do some of this. What I might do for me, and this is something I might skip if I'm going to the gym or whatever, is I might go ahead and do maybe like 10, 20, right? Dumbbell curls. You can do them kind of this style. You can do them like this if you want. I've adapted over the years. I do this. I felt that too. I've got a problem going on my right elbow bicep, but so I'm doing these. You can also do hammer style, right, or this. And one thing, just upper level, I'm learning a little more home exercises. I might do a set occasionally I come up and I do this. But again, I encourage you to understand posture, proper form, all that stuff. If you're not used to doing this kind of stuff, don't get into it. Okay, so we do that. We're there. Next thing we want to do, I'm gonna grab my little strappy thing. And this stinks because my coffee hit me and I'm trying to finish the video. I need to go to the bathroom. Not the best thing. Normally, if you need to go to the bathroom, go. Because remember, this is long, but we want to get a condensed routine where I can get my body moving, get my vagus system relaxed, get into a relaxed rest and digest state, which gets my brain more clear, gets my stress release. I invite the Lord in. All these pieces to where if you can do this 10 minutes before you head out into your day, your lunch break, in the morning time, your evening, hugely beneficial to do a reset. There's all kinds of things you can hear building into this. So I'll have the strap there. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna try to walk through the rest of this. We went through a lot of it, but from there, next will probably be, I'm gonna throw this on just because I like to not put my forehead on the mat, but when I have a hoodie on. So I'll probably go down. It may get harder to hear me. Maybe that was the Lord's blessing, the music turned off. So what I'm doing there is, if you can work, this alone right here is a beneficial posture. Working towards being able to do that. I've also been having trouble with my right ankle, but hey, we move into pain. We're going to have little things popping up here and there, but I'm not stopping it. I keep moving into it, right? That's been growth over the years. We've been so taught, oh, your ankle hurts, you better stop doing everything. No, keep moving until it's apparent it's not going to correct itself, right? So, and have faith. I'm speaking to my ankle too these days. So I do a lot of hiking, but I'm having a little, I don't know what's going on with my ankle. But I can do this, right? I feel it, I can do this. What I'm going to do is, it's a little harder to explain this one. This is another one that's, so I personally, what I do is I get down, and the same thing, I'm kind of trying to picture having good posture as if I were standing up. So my head is down, my forehead's down, and so I'm lined up, and I'm kind of tucking my pelvic best I can. And what I do is, I start here. And if you have a roll of toilet paper, you can do this if you have a good open floor. I just hold my hands. And I'm going to reach out, good stretch, and I'm rotating my hands around. And I'm doing this for the similar reason as those other ones. For me, I'm really focused here, and I'm trying to push stuff back in place. I can feel the grind, I can feel stuff. So this is just something I do that you may not relate to, you may not want to do. It's just what I do. So I'll do this for a few. All right, just a few. And then next thing I'll do, I'll come back, and usually, like I said, this is more fluid. I work through it in different ways. These are two of my prime ones. That one, what I'm about to do, and a couple when I get on my back. If I have no time, I'll do those real quick to help my spine, because I really can get at times of the day where I'm really struggling. So you'll adapt to things that are quick hits for you. I encourage you a couple times a week, get a routine where take a half hour to do it. Use it as your prayer time. Use it as your meditation time to connect with yourself and the Lord. So the next thing I'll do is, I found this one it's really progressively getting beneficial. It was harder at first. It might be for some of you. Is I'll go forward. So I'm kind of almost in that same sit position, but I go forward, and you really, at first, play with positioning. I say hands almost armpit, like play with where they are. But what I'm doing is not really a push-up. You just know I've been doing this for over a year every day. So I'm going back, and I am pushing up, but I'm going back, and I'm intentionally stretching that spine. And I'll do about 10 of those. This is one of my more beneficial ones that can really help me, the two I just showed you. So I'll kind of do that, loosely 10 or whatever. Normally, keep remembering to try to breathe through your nose. And I'll kind of do that, maybe more, and you got to play with the stretch. I'm not saying it wasn't easy for me at first. It's not easy for me on days I've jammed myself up. So I'll go to this is the floor work. Just training yourself to do a floor work routine, I'm going to tell you, is going to be so beneficial if you get it down and get going to your spine and your health and all that. Just the floor alone can help you realign in ways you'd be shocked. So then normally what I do is, this will be definitely harder or impossible for some yet, or, you know, and again, I know there's some watching that these things aren't possible, but the point is to encourage you to figure out some things that do work for you. I don't know what they call this, downward dog or some crap. It doesn't matter to me. I'm doing it for the physiological benefit. So I do this, I'm really getting a stretch in my hamstrings. Posture is important here. You know, if you want to play with it and you want to ask me or look up some videos, these days I encourage you, YouTube anything, how to do it proper. Look for someone that's valid and legit. Easiest way to do it. It's how I've learned a lot of it. So I'm doing this, and I'll tell you, usually here when I'm focused, that point there is about the time I feel it also brought blood flow to my head, the stretch. Honestly, between us, about that time in my routine, I'll feel the spirit come out. Sometimes I'll pray in tongues during that moment. Like I feel, that's about the time usually, if I'm focused in, that release and that shift comes, and I may have a moment with the Lord. So this stuff can very much be spiritual. God created our bodies, not the devil. They're not evil. So I'll do that, okay? And then this part is probably takes more instruction, but kind of, I call them cat-cows. Again, I'm working my spine, but I don't overdo the up. I learned a lot of what I do is I'm trying to push my spine up, but I don't try to overextend those. I found they flare my neck up. So I'll kind of do a form where it's kind of lighter. Down I'll do a little more aggressive, and I may even do this because I feel that stretch keeping more in my lumbar. I'll do some of that, okay? Sometimes what I'll do is some form of, like, I may come forward. There's a position where I've got my forehead down, I'm tucked in, it's resting, but what I'm focusing on is I'm pushing our head will get displaced in our neck. I'm actually using that to gently push my skull back up on my neck. And again, don't speed into these things. At this point, I'm also I'll do a little bit of neck rolling, like I used to do in football. And I'll kind of play with that, real gentle, real light, real whatever. I might do one more of, like, maybe sit back. I might do like a little more of that. Sometimes what I'll do, especially because I'm having a problem ankle, I'll come back up on my toes and let that lower, kind of my lower calves, that stretch a bit on my toes, just a bit. The other parts that aren't always routine, I'll just show you because I'm showing you. There's lots of stuff. You can get like a wide squat kind of thing, looking at Tai Chi stuff. I haven't done a lot of this yet. This one's tough. I have a really serious spine condition, and so I'll tell you, 2 years ago, it's like, you gotta be crazy to do this. Nobody can do that. That's why I'm a believer now. So daily I have to do it. I'm not healed. I'm not all better. Much more functional is working on kind of doing, not super wide, but a deep squat. So they say getting to where we can rest and squat. This isn't proper either, but you see people that are younger than us. The other thing I tell you is you don't need a 20-year-old to tell you how to do this stuff if you're 50. So the one thing I've learned, and this is an older guy doing it, that if we can work on, we're leaning on the inside, elbows on the inside here, is that deeper squat, and be really careful with this, but there's something about that deep squat. One, it realigns blood flow, our organs, it's a spinal thing, vascular thing, all that. Working on this zone that we don't, and it gets messed up, and I'm realizing more and more and more, even stretching, strengthening these flexors in the front, all that kind of stuff. So from there, all right, speed this along maybe. From there, I'm going to go to my back. I may do it different ways. One thing I may do is I may arch up and I slowly come down and kind of, again, push on that thoracic upper spine stuff. But then I'll begin, you might do a little bit of loosen stuff, just playing with how your body feels. What I primarily do is I'll do these. Again, that's actually mainly stretching my hip flexor right there. So I'll do some of that. It allows the some of the nerves through there where we get sciatic and all that to get loosened up and released. I'll do it again on this side, and some of these you would want to do longer. I'm going to speed it up. From there, I do something like this. Again, some of these kind of investigate before you try it. Make sure you get posture. I'll say one thing. I keep my toe up, which keeps my knee locked and protected better. For me, I'll do some of this. It really stretches that back side there along my hip and bottom, because that's where I get some problems. So I don't overdo stretching these days. I'm more incorporating like a stretch tension type thing is what I'm learning. The stretching can help. We need to strengthen these things. So I'll do some form of that. This is kind of like I showed you standing up, but if you want to see it, it's a really awkward one. I'm kind of gripping the inside, so I'm pulling back, but I'm pushing out. And same thing, I'm trying to release and realign some of that pelvic floor that we are damaging a lot and getting really tense. We're having problems without realizing it's not even, the problem is just we're not moving it. That's the problem. And so some of that kind of stuff. From there, and usually this part, I may speed along, or I may take, if I really want to get a good one in, I take more time. But so I'm going to take a strap of some sort, belt, towel, something, and I'm almost keeping a stiff leg, and I'm coming back to where, I feel it, but it's not extreme pain. I'm really trying to stretch all the way up my calf, back up not my calf, my hamstring, my knee. If the calf gets it cool, that's a different thing I do for calf drops off a step. Won't show you that. So I do that. What I do is I'll go, I forgot to move the curve. I'll go over to that side. Again, very careful with easing into these things. I'll go to this side and really kind of stretch that. Do not try this until you build into it. I've had to rebuild to it the last couple of years. I couldn't even hardly walk or move a couple years ago with my back. So again, same side, really feel the tension there today. And I may do a couple of those, just whatever. I'm just showing you, for example, this is what it looked like on that side. Very careful, very gentle, kind of keeping attention, and the same back thing, back that way. That's the main ones there. Some of the final things I'm going to aim for. So if I think of it, I'll tell you the guy to look into this back stuff is doing this proper. But a bridge, you want to do it proper, but your feet tucked under pretty good as far as you can. Leading with like tilting your pelvis, not out, but up. So it's kind of like a tension between pelvis up, your rib cage down to do this sort of proper. Almost getting a straight kind of up. So doing these properly is helpful, but they say these are one of the most beneficial things to correcting back issues and core issues. And so I'll do this. I probably should do it a lot more. I do think it helps. Also remembering your tension, your glutes, you got to tighten your butt. So sort of a pushing all that up and tight while not overarching, kind of pushing right below your ribs, like slightly down while that's going up. So sort of getting a practice of how that feels, making sure your feet are flat, big toes down, all that stuff. Further, your heels are back, you're getting the tension stretch here. So I'll do that. And I might do one more that I don't always do. It's just simply, you can't even see it. I'm just simply doing that with my pelvis to strengthen those muscles, to pull that pelvic tilt back in place. I need to be doing that more. And I might end with just a little bit of whatever, and that's just about it. Clearly, there's so many other things that you could do. This was a really long video. I will attempt to get it downloaded. I hope this is all recorded. I was nervous about this, but excited about it. I hope it's helpful. I'm happy to answer little things about it that you like. I geek out on this stuff. I love to talk about Jesus. I love to talk about the body. I love to talk about the mind, because I think God created us as three-part beings just like himself. Body, soul, and spirit. And we've got to address all three to be at our best. God bless you. Have a great one.